I had a blast screaming in the student section the moment I got to Columbia. My childhood dog's name was Beamer, and I'm standing there asking him, so do you have like a DJ name? The hotel bar will be seeing me on Saturday night, that's for sure.
I'm changing a diaper right now.
Oh my God, that's amazing. This is the best podcast ever. To this day, he has nightmares about Clowney chasing him down. At the end of the day, we're all on a big floating rock talking about football. How lucky am I to be overwhelmed by the things that I prayed for? My God, it could not have worked out any better. I truly don't think I am where I am without having spent 4 years in Columbia.
Tailgate Talks is proudly presented by our title sponsor, Green's Beverages, South Carolina's go-to spot for all things beer, wine, and spirits. This episode is brought to you by the High Rise Beverage Co., real fruit-infused THC and CBD seltzers with zero artificial flavors or colors. Born in South Carolina, High Rise is here to help you elevate every moment, from the tailgate to game day. Sip smart, sip local. Buy High Rise Beverage Co. at your nearest Green store today. All right, Gamecock fans, this season we're raising a glass to bold flavors and even bolder conversations. Tailgate Talks is fueled by Bullet Bourbon, the official bourbon of backyard grills, pregame huddles, and postgame victory toast. Whether you're sipping it neat or mixing up Gamecock-style old-fashioned, Bullet's smooth finish keeps the tailgate vibes rolling. So pour one, press play, and let's talk some football. Bullet Bourbon, frontier whiskey for Gamecock Nation.
What's going on, Gamecock Nation? Glad you guys are joining us again this week for another episode of Tailgate Talks. We are sitting here 3-3, not quite as good as we wish it would be, but we do have a tough, resilient team. So I do. We still have 4 games left in front of us where it's just a bring your lunch pail type week. So, but yeah,
I mean,
that kind of
we might need to bring a little bit more than a lunch pail.
Yeah. Either way, it kind of sucked. I mean, LSU did not play good ball, but we played worse ball. And all in all, I mean, if you don't play good football, if you have 13 penalties but you win the turnover battle, you win the time of possession battle, you don't score touchdowns, you kick field goals, when you cross the 50, you aren't really productive. You take as many sacks as you take. We had 260-something yards of total offense, and a third of it was on one play when Fuller broke the 73-yarder.
Right.
So, but, Beamer made a change.
Confusion.
Yeah, Beamer made the change. It was announced yesterday. Lana Teasley was let go. Coach Elliott's going to be back in that offensive line room.
I feel like that's kind of where he's made his bread and butter, man. He's an offensive lineman. He's not a tight end guy. So I think I'm with you and with kind of everybody else on Gamecock Nation that, having him back in that offensive line room is where he needs to be. So I'm hoping there can be a little bit of a change. There's as we said off air, man, there's a lot of other issues as well.
Yeah, but who's not the issue is the freaking defense. Holy smokes.
Defense is lights out.
Still playing lights out. And that's been the case for the last couple of years. So it's our woes have always been offensively. We've shown spurts of greatness, but it hasn't been sustained over, a 6-week period, a 12-week period, whatever it is. We've seen 2 or 3 weeks of greatness. But overall, Carolina, I don't know if we've had an offense ranked in the top 50 in these last 6 years. The defense has always been up there. The special teams has always been up there. But offensively, it's been our Achilles heel the last couple of years.
Yeah. Yeah, and that sucks, especially in this day and age, man, where offense is kind of king. We got to score points and not turn the ball over and not kick field goals all the time. Like we said, there's just a lot of other stuff that needs to be kind of addressed and go from there. We got the talent. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, I agree. Let's call a spade a spade. Norris is not playing elite football right now. He's not playing like the projected first-round pick that everybody was saying he was, or the Heisman Trophy candidate. Now you can see the potential, but I'm kind of tired of talking about the potential. I'd like to see it actually out there on Sundays or on Saturdays. And he's a great kid, and you see him make some plays and then he misses plays. It's just like consistency, like overall
Right.
consistency. His play just needs to be elevated at all times.
Yeah, no, you're 100% right. And that's a great word to use. And I'm sure that's what you heard in the locker room on Sundays all the time in your 10 years. Like consistency is what wins ball games, is what, is going to get you paid. So I'd love to see the consistency as well. I mean, you have these Heisman candidate, plays that he's doing on Saturdays, but then the next play, it's like, what are you looking at, dude?
Yeah.
Do you not see the guy wide ass open? Like, obviously armchair quarterbacks is a hell of a lot easier than actually playing on Saturdays, but there's just plays where it's like, come on, man, like this is what we're paying you a lot of money to get done. So let's get it done.
Since I'm so good at these transitions, and we've talked about these several times, the person that we interviewed this week is really good at diagnosing mid-game what's going on. This week we had a former Gamecock alum, former Gamecock great, Alyssa Lang, on the episode, SEC Network. She just called her first NBA game. I think that was yesterday.
Yep.
So, I mean, just great insight, hearing her story on her kind of rise to fame and the growth of what it took, why she came to Carolina, what this place means to her, how this place shaped her career, and how her career has transformed from being a local reporter down in Jacksonville, wondering what in the world. Like she's like, I'm done. I'm going to get in sales. I can do something else. I'm not doing this anymore. And then how the opportunity arose for her to break in at ESPN and then SEC Network, and then her dreams and aspirations going forward. So I thought it was an awesome interview. I think everybody's going to really, really like it. She talks the way like a reporter all the time. Like even when we were off air, I'm like, I feel like I'm getting interviewed by somebody. Like I'm like, this is. So she's always 100%
in game right. Yeah. I mean, her voice transitions and just everything about it was very reporterish. But I mean, like you said,
holy smokes, when you buy that mic.
Yeah, that was incredible. It was crisp. I felt like she was right in front of me. But yeah, that was a very interesting interview, and I mean, some cool insight that I think a lot of people don't understand, like what goes in to doing that sideline reporting, and the time and energy that they have to take to be able to be worth a shit at their job.
Yeah, I mean, she was during the interview, she brought up several coaches, assistant coaches, some players, some backups on certain teams, and I'm like, no idea. I got nothing for you. Who is that guy?
Yeah.
but it just shows the detail that she's in. And obviously we recorded Thursday before her coaches meeting. So she's been grinding on these teams for 5 days now. But very sharp.
Oh yeah.
A very proud alum of South Carolina. And I think, I think the sky's the limit for her with her work ethic and everything that she's about.
Yeah, no doubt. She is, like you said, she is full-time reporter at all times. So I mean, it was really cool, and yeah, I mean, I'm rooting for her for sure. It's not an easy racket to crack, and I mean, she's made some headway in a very short time.
Yep, and we can't leave this without talking about the 2010 reunion that we have coming up here, and it'll be a week and a half when this episode airs. So, guys that we played with from that 2010 team, make sure you RSVP. Can't wait to see you there. Obviously, that's the Bama game. We had a pretty good game against Bama. Well, you said it was 15 years ago Thursday, right?
Yeah.
So a really cool chance for us to be celebrated and be honored, and really just to get back together. It's been a while since we had that opportunity. So, guys, if you're listening to this, make sure you do RSVP. We're really getting some headway on YouTube, listeners, viewers, however you do it, whether it's YouTube, Apple, Spotify, whatever it is. But we're grateful for you guys listening and tuning in every week. And hopefully next week after Oklahoma, we can have it won't be as gloomy. It'll be more like Steven's background than my background.
Dude, Oklahoma looks beatable. They look very beatable.
100%. So I think I think obviously Beamer wants to make change. He wants to fix it. He's taking the initiative right now to do it. And I'm excited for Coach Elliott being back in that offensive line room. I'm excited for the demeanor and the attitude. Hopefully there's a little elevation in the offensive room because he has a little more stake in it.
Yeah.
But appreciate everybody tuning in, and hopefully you guys look forward to hearing from our guest this week, Alyssa Lang.
All right. Always the awkward beginnings.
It's the best part. Pat's always like, hey, you want to start? I was like, no, I don't. You've been rolling with this thing. Rock and roll.
All right, Gamecock Nation. Well, we are here joined this week by somebody way more famous and important than both Stephen and I, Alyssa Lang. We appreciate you joining us.
That is not true, first of all. Second of all, it is wonderful to be here. I've watched the show from afar, and when I finally got the invite, I felt like I truly made it as a Gamecock fan. I'm pumped.
Damn, finally. We should have done this a lot earlier then.
No, I know. We've you have a busy schedule. Steve and I have a conflicting schedule too, but you were one of the easiest to wrangle. We pulled this off in like 3 weeks, so it's a lot better than we can say for some.
I'll take that.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, that makes me feel a lot better about giving you guys like a 45-minute window every other day during the week. So I'm glad we made it happen.
I mean, you have the coaches meeting right after this, so we'll try to speed through. You got important stuff.
Not as important as this. Nothing will be.
Great answer. Great answer.
Well, let's go to the beginning. You grew up in North Carolina, so like family, were they Gamecock fans at all?
No, actually, I grew up, and this is pretty well documented, but there's always somebody who goes, wait, seriously? When I tell this story for the first time, I grew up in an ACC household. Both of my parents went to Virginia Tech.
Okay.
So I was raised on Hokie football to the point where, and it's crazy to say now, my childhood dog's name was Beamer, after Frank Beamer. We were that obsessed with Hokie football. I'm not kidding. Like my childhood bedroom growing up, it was newspaper clippings of all the ACC championships and all the times we beat Florida State and all these great games. So I grew up pretty spoiled, honestly, in the late 90s, early 2000s, watching Michael Vick roll through.
That was
Actually, one of the best college quarterbacks you've ever seen. So I did not grow up really even within the SEC at all. I grew up in Lane Stadium on Thursday nights, and just being from the Charlotte area, obviously when it came time to look at schools and knowing that this was what I wanted to do, South Carolina, of course, popped onto the radar as a great journalism school. It was right down the road. Really wanted to go to Virginia Tech, but Dad said, hey, if you're not going to be an engineer, this doesn't really make sense. Went on my tour at South Carolina, and I fell in love with it like so many people do, and obviously ended up in Columbia. Now, fast forward, all these years later, my parents wear Gamecock gear and cheer for Frank Beamer's son, which is great. So it's a really cool, like, college football fan circle of life that we've experienced with Virginia Tech to South Carolina.
Well, I mean, it was an incredible run. I mean, Virginia Tech was a powerhouse for a long time, and the ACC then versus now, completely different, right? I mean, it was they won a bunch of national championships consecutively, and all that, but it was, and then you came to South Carolina. You got there in 11?
Yes, I got there in 11, which, as y'all know, was like the height of some great South Carolina football. So it's funny because I went from growing up pulling for a team that I felt like never lost. And when we lost, it was like, okay, well, this, season's not derail. Like this is just, once in a blue moon. And then I get to Columbia, and we're amazing, and back-to-back 11-win seasons, and y'all are there, and Jadavian Clowney was in my class coming in, and I'm like, this is great. I didn't know what it was to pull for a bad football team until like years later when obviously South Carolina went through what they went through after I graduated, and it kind of, trailed off for a little while there. But it was funny because my dad would tell me, you don't understand how spoiled you are as a college football fan, and your team is always good. So I had a blast screaming in the student section the moment I got to Columbia.
100%. I mean, I grew up a Gator fan too. So I kind of from that era with Coach Spurrier, and watching him as a kid, and then obviously playing under him, it was pretty fascinating how just great the football was and how competitive it was. And then stepping into South Carolina and helping build the program to where it was in 11, 12, 13, 14 was pretty darn cool to see, because when Steve and I got there in 2007, it was not that. We were a 5-7, 6-6 ball club. And then we stacked a couple bowl games in a row, and then we won the East, and then Connor and Marcus and crew just blew the place up and knocked the doors off. So and it seems like right now we're kind of back on track with that. I know we had a rough first 4 or 5 games this year, but I mean, winning 9 games with Beamer, 8 games with Beamer, like things are trending right. The recruiting's going well. and all that. So it's good to see.
Yeah, it certainly feels that way. And I'm a huge Shane Beamer fan, obviously. And it's funny, from when I was there and then when the job was open right before we hired Shane Beamer, so many people asked me. I was with the SEC Network at that point. So who do you want to take over South Carolina as head coach? And I reached out to so many of the guys that I went to school with who were part of some of those great teams. And the resounding answer was Shane Beamer, which at the time, you're sitting there going, okay, well, he hasn't been a coordinator. Like, really? Are you guys sure? And then obviously that ends up being the choice. And I think, of course, it was the correct choice, and look where we are now. But it's so funny, the amount of people who asked me about that 2010 game. I wasn't the Bama game, obviously. I wasn't there as a student yet, but I knew that that's where I was headed. So I'm paying attention to South Carolina football. And that for me really was like the start of, okay, this is an awesome place. And obviously beating Bama in 2010 is like still one of the best memories I think a lot of Gamecock fans have. It's crazy that was 15 years ago now, but
Today.
Today. You're right. Which that's bizarre that's like, as we're recording this, but it does feel like we are closer to that type of momentum that we had back in the 2010s and beyond.
Yeah, I agree 100%.
Yeah, no, I mean, there's no doubt about it. That's the same thing. Pat and that's the same thing. We're both from Florida. I didn't even know where the hell Columbia, South Carolina was on a map, to be honest with you. But like I said, I took that visit there and went to 5 Points, and I was like, okay, this is a no-brainer.
Someone recently told me that 5 Points and the Vista have switched. Like that the students don't go to 5 Points anymore, that now the adults go to 5 Points and the students go to the Vista. And I said, holy crap, has it been that long since I don't know if y'all can confirm this, but I met a Gamecock fan in Charlotte a couple weeks ago, and he had just gone to the Kentucky game. And he said, yeah, we're all in the Vista, and there's people at the bar laughing at us because they're sophomores at Carolina. They're like, why aren't you in 5 Points? I said, I might have cried, actually, if that had happened to me.
Several good restaurants right there in 5 Points now. So now like adults will go there, go to dinner, and then go for a nightcap.
So we're just old. We're all just old.
Yeah.
The Vista has some up-and-coming restaurants, more nightclubs, more lively places to go. So it is weird because we could get in everywhere in 5 Points. Just football name dropping, we could get in anywhere. You go to the Vista and it didn't work.
No.
You had to be 21 to get in anywhere.
I may or may not have had a piece of identification that may or may not have been mine that worked everywhere in 5 Points, but definitely did not work in the Vista. I mean, it may or may not have been the case, but that's insane to me to think about.
Yeah, so other than the journalism school at Carolina, is there anything else that really drew you there? Other than that?
Yeah, I mean, I knew that I wanted to do this job. I knew that this was the dream, and I felt like being somewhere that was at the top of the football universe. Do we have kiddos in the background?
Yeah,
I love guest appearances from the kiddos.
I'm changing a diaper right now.
That's amazing.
The good dad right there.
This is the best podcast ever.
It's 2 days in a row the kids have come on the podcast. You want to come here, say hi. Hurry up, come here.
Yeah, let's see her.
Sit in there, say hi.
Hi. What's up?
You're so pretty.
What's
You're
going on
right now too. She can't hear you.
Just who is this stranger that's waving at me through the computer?
Sorry about that.
No, you're good. I love the J School. I loved what South Carolina offered as far as being able to get your hands on things and being able to start working in the media space as soon as you got there. So I really wanted to be a part of Student Gamecock TV. And that was huge to me because there were a lot of other places where they were like, well, you can wait till your junior or senior year. And that's when you can start picking up cameras and practicing this. And I'm like, well, I've never done this in my life. And everybody tells you that reps are the most important thing. Mm-hmm. I got to be able to get there and start immediately. I knew nothing about this business. My mom was a teacher. My dad was an electrical engineer. So they knew nothing about this either. So that obviously was the driving factor. But then being in the middle of the best football conference in America also was a huge part. I knew that if that's what I wanted to work in, then that's who I wanted to rub elbows with, was people who were covering the sport and covering it at the highest level available. Obviously with Steve Spurrier and everybody who y'all just named and beyond who rolled through Columbia, I got great experience right away doing interviews and covering high-level football the moment I got on campus. So it was sort of the perfect storm for me, honestly. I don't think it could have gone any better. And what's funny is I really wanted to go to North Carolina, Chapel Hill. I was in the state of North Carolina. That was became my dream school. They're known for journalism. I went to a journalism camp there when I was in high school. My parents sent me, they were like, this will look great on the resume. You'll totally get it. I got straight up denied from North Carolina. I didn't even get wait. And I had pretty good grades. Like I'm thinking I'm home free. I'm going to Chapel Hill. And I cried for like 3 days that I didn't get in. And I look back on that now and think, my God, it could not have worked out any better. I truly don't think I am where I am without having spent 4 years in Columbia.
And that's something that everybody has said. I mean, they've all said, I mean, even DK was saying yesterday, and pretty much every single guest that we've had, myself included, it's like everything happens for a reason. You may not know what that is right now, but sooner or later, everything happens for a reason. It all works itself out.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, good experience covering Coach Spurrier too, because you never know what the hell is going to come out of his mouth.
For sure.
I'll never forget. I can't remember exactly what year it was. I should have looked it up before we came on here, but I was working at the CBS affiliate in Columbia already. I might have been like a junior at that point, maybe a senior. And it was a Friday, and I was about to go home for a long weekend, and I'm about to leave the newsroom, and we get this email from Steve Fink. Hey, Steve Spurrier's called a press conference at the last minute. It's in an hour. And I'm like, okay, I guess I'll get to the Doty in an hour. Like, I'm about to go to the beach with my friends. Like, all right, sure. And that was the press conference that he held because someone had written an article about that he was getting old and he was going to retire. And he quoted Attila the Hun in that press conference. I don't know if y'all remember that.
No.
You can look up this press conference on YouTube still, and it wasn't even a formal press conference. He's standing there in the lobby, and we're all standing around him with the microphones. And he pulls out of his pocket a piece of paper. He said, I want to read a quote from somebody, Attila the Hun. And you can see me in the background. And I'm kind of like bad control of the facial expressions. So I'm like, did we all hear that right? Is he quoting Attila the Hun? So to your point, you never know what could happen. That was what we spent our Friday afternoon doing when I thought I was going to be going to Myrtle Beach or whatever it was, listening to Coach quote Attila the Hun, which remains one of my favorite TV moments.
He's some attention.
He loves quoting people too. I gotta find the sheet of paper that he wrote me. I mean, it wasn't a sheet. It was a thick like packet of nothing but like famous people. I don't remember reading Attila the Hun, but it was a famous just quotes from everybody. I'm like, I'm not reading all this, man.
It's so good. Like the stories that my friends who were on the team when I was in school would tell me, like just the funniest thing. And you guys can confirm or deny this too. Like I heard that like the receivers would drop a pass and he wouldn't even walk over and rip them. He'd walk over to the receivers coach and be like, well, get his transfer papers together. We got to get him out of here.
Yeah. It was sounds all right.
He would say it in a TV room in front of everybody. He'd be like, it's not your fault. I recruited you. I'm the dumbass who recruited you. I'm the dumbass who put you in the game. I'm the one who drew up this play perfectly so that you'd be wide open. And you're the one who can't catch it.
He's so funny. Like there's truly nobody like him. I remember too, there were a couple of times after practice, especially in the summer, there were a few years where I was the only woman covering the team in Columbia, and he'd walk over and he'd go, all right, gentlemen, and lady, Alyssa, thank you. And I'd go, thanks, coach. Thanks for seeing me. It was always, okay, gentlemen. And then, lady. Like, he was one of a kind for sure.
We talk a lot about defining moments when it comes to football.
One choice can change the entire outcome of a game or season.
Moments that seem small often make a substantial impact in the long run, and that is true in all facets of life.
Like whom you choose to bank with?
Picking the right bank can make a huge difference in finding success.
That's why you need to elevate your financial game with Founders Federal Credit Union. Their rates are always competitive, and they've got trusted financial tools that help keep your financial goals on track.
Don't forget their service to their membership and community is unrivaled.
Get in the game today. Swing by a Founders office near you or visit foundersfcu.com to apply for membership. Founders is federally insured by the NCUA. Membership qualification is required. Looking for the perfect spot to unwind? Steelhand Brewing in Casey has you covered. Whether you're craving a refreshing craft beer or just a great time with friends and family, Steelhands has it all. With a variety of craft beers, spacious outdoor beer gardens, and a delicious food menu, there's something for everyone. Plus, join them for free live music every Thursday through Sunday. Visit steelhandsbrewing.com to see their lineup of upcoming events or host your own. Handforce in Casey and voted best local brewery again this year. Go visit steelhandsbrewing.com. Hey Gamecocks, at Granger Owings, style starts with you. From custom fits to emerging brands, they offer a curated selection of women's and men's clothing for work, weekends, and every moment in between. Their stylists take the time to understand your lifestyle, then help you build a wardrobe that fits your needs and feels like you. Shop in store, downtown on Main Street and Trenton Plaza, or book a fitting online at grangerowings.com. Granger Owings, where personal style meets personal service. What was your first pinch me moment, whether at South Carolina or right when you kind of got out of college? What was that first moment that you were like, wow, I'm in this, I'm entrenched now?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think when I was at Carolina, I think anytime I had an opportunity to be on the field and covering any of those games, that was crazy to me. I mean, the 2012 Georgia game, I was on the sidelines for that one, shooting that game. And as everyone remembers, if you were in the stadium for that one, that's probably the best game I've ever been in a building for, was 2012 Georgia. And
to this day?
Yeah. Well, I mean, as a fan, as a fan.
That was electric.
It was insane. And I do a lot of radio with Aaron Murray, and he will say that to this day, he has nightmares about Clowney chasing him down in that football game because it was just crazy. So that was definitely one of those moments where it was like, okay, pinch me as far as being in the SEC is unlike anything else. I remember when I got to the SEC network, I was hosting one of the first football shows that I had hosted, and I looked to my left and it's Greg McElroy, and I looked to my right and it's Gene Chizik, and all these people, and I'm sitting here going, I cannot believe I'm on an ESPN desk with these people who have just these storied SEC football careers. So I still have moments like that. I host a show every week with Gene Chizik now, and I'm like, you just casually had Cam Newton in one of the best seasons of all time in college football.
He ran a badass offense too. I kind of wish that we would run a similar offense to that because it worked.
Over the years, when we have been, looking for an OC or looking for a DC, there have been times over the last 6-7 years where I've hit Chiz and been like, hey, Columbia's really nice this time of year. You interested? But no, I think he is firmly back in the TV side.
Transfer portal. Absolutely not.
Yeah, after his last stint at North Carolina, I think he's back in media for good. But I've had a lot of those moments over the years. Honestly, I never want to stop having those moments because I think when you stop having that pinch me moment, it's kind of like what's your purpose anymore? Right. Mm-hmm. I think the biggest pinch me moment I will ever have, maybe it feels like it can't be outdone. Maybe it will be. I hope so. But was Vandy, Alabama last year, being on the sidelines for that game and then watching what that snowballed into and getting to be part of the Netflix show that came out this summer. That's just one of those, like if you had told college Alyssa that was going to happen, she would never have believed it. Ever.
Well, I mean, you've worked your butt off and you've committed to the game and you've put yourself in plenty of opportunities. You have to put yourself there to get those opportunities. And you've always kind of overachieved just from senior career. But a big question, I mean, I guess when we were in college, like Erin Andrews was the figure, the women figure in college sports. Like, did you have any other female figures that you kind of looked up to as you were getting in the industry?
Yeah, I think Susie Colbert was another big one. I grew up a Jets fan. My whole family's from New York, so having watched Susie over the years, she was definitely a voice that I would look to. Holly Rowe, obviously having been a veteran in the game, was another name that I just remember watching. I had male figures too that I looked up to. And I remember when I was at South Carolina, they used to do the Sports Center on the road over the summer, and they'd make different pit stops at different campuses around the country. And Tom Rinaldi came with the Sports Center crew. And I mean, it was one of the first experiences that I had with someone in the business that I came away and was like, okay, like this person really cares about the future of the next wave of media. I mean, he could have come in and done his shows and got back on the bus. I was rolling cable as a volunteer that day. I literally signed up to roll camera cable for the show. He pulled the 2 other students and myself on the bus, and we had an hour-long conversation about what do you want to do and how do you want to get there. And so to see him and the humanity kind of coming through in that moment, and how much he cared about somebody who had no effect on his life, but also being such a great broadcaster at the same time. He was a very big early influence, I would say, as well.
Man, I kind of feel bad for making fun of him for all those years.
Did you?
I didn't like make fun of him, but it was always like, Tom Rinaldi, ESPN.
I mean, he had that voice, right?
I would always like try to mimic it. I was like, look at this freaking dipshit.
Where he passed the torch. I mean, that's what we're talking about too. I mean, Steven and I, like, that was something that we've talked on air about all the time. Is like, we came to South Carolina and we feel like we are a part of the build, but we handed it off to guys that were in recruiting classes after us, and they continued to build with momentum. And that's what it's all about. Like, even as I was playing in the NFL, as I was getting ready to leave, I was sitting there, and I remember my running backs coach was like, we had a rookie fullback in too, and he was in camp, and I was like explaining stuff and kind of getting the trick to the trade. And my running backs coach came up to me after practice, and he's like, "What the hell are you doing?" He's like, "Why are you like, he's trying to take your job, right?" And I'm like, if he's better than me, then he should have the job first off. And like, if I'm sitting here and I'm going to hold things back that are going to progress his game and give him the chance to go shine, like that ain't the person I am. And he was like, "Wow, you're rare," because most people are like, not telling you.
Right. And I've experienced that in this business. It's very similar to football, right? You have plenty of supportive people. Yeah. But I have been in a room where questions about how you should go about this have been asked, and someone says, why would I help you with how to do this? Like, I'm not going to help you out. That said, the positive and the support, I would say, far outweigh the negative and those people. But it is one of those things where y'all have experienced this in your field as well. But I think we all have that moment where you go, okay, I'm doing what I want to do, but who do I want to be? And at the end of the day, I want to make sure I can sleep at night. And if I feel like I have been like a D-bag to anybody, for lack of a better word, like, I'm not going to be able to sleep at night. I know, but no, I'm not trying to get in trouble. I have felt being on the other side of not wanting to be helped. And at the end of the day, we're all on a big floating rock talking about football. Like, come on. If there's always going to be a woman who's behind me, who's cooler and better looking and smarter than me, and good for her when one day she takes my job, I hope I can help her in any way. And my life's journey will
way down the road, though. Way down the road.
I hope I get to do this for a long time, but it's the circle of life, right? And if we're not helping people, then what are we here for?
I mean, I could imagine. I know Pat has this on the question sheet, but I mean, it's got to be an incredibly competitive industry to crack into.
Yeah, it definitely is. And it's, everybody's journey is different. There are plenty of talented people who don't make it as far as they should. And there's a lot of different reasons for that, right? Everybody says it's not what you know, it's who you know. And while it's not fully that, there is definitely an element to that, right? If you're not in the right room at the right time with the right person who's supporting you and has a say in where you could go, it may not work out for you. And I have wrestled with that throughout the years. I've shared this before, but I almost quit television. I was in Jacksonville, Florida in local TV, and I was on the 3rd round of an entry-level sales job because I was trying to get out of Jacksonville and try to get into any other TV opportunity, and I wasn't getting any bites. Nobody was interested in me. And I was sitting here thinking, okay, like maybe this just isn't for me. Maybe I'm not as good at this as I thought that I could be. And lo and behold, I'm about to go on this 3rd sales job interview, and I get a call from someone who I had met years earlier at ESPN who said, hey, we're going to be looking for someone. Do you want me to help, put your resume in the pile? And I was like, hell yeah, I do. Of course. And that was kind of my God moment for not being done, but not everybody has that. And there are plenty of talented people who don't get that. So while I acknowledge that you have to work really hard, and I have worked really hard, there is a little bit of luck and good timing that goes into it too.
Like anything else, I'm sure. Let me ask you this. What is any given day? Like what's a standard Saturday for you?
Ooh, that's a good. So Saturday, yeah, Saturdays are a little crazy. So obviously it changes with the season, but during football season, we're getting to the stadium. Like I've got an 11:45 Central Time kick this weekend. I'm at Ole Miss, so we'll get to the stadium probably about 8 a.m. I'm fully TV ready. We'll go through our rehearsals, make sure everything's working. Typically, I'm doing an arrival interview with the head coach. I'll do a hit for our pregame show, whatever the studio needs. Multiple pregame shows now on the SEC network. So I'm part of that really all the way up to kickoff. And then as you're getting ready for the game to start, you're finalizing your notes. You're typically somewhere on the field getting those last minute questions with coordinators or even players potentially watching. Like this weekend, for example, I don't know when this will come out, but at the time of this taping, going to Ole Miss, it's like, okay, well, is Austin Simmons 100%? What are they going to do against a Wazoo team that they're favored by over 30 points against? Do you roll out Trinidad Chambliss? What's the quarterback situation there? So watching who's taking snaps with the ones, who's doing what before pregame. That way, by the time the broadcast kicks off, we can share some of that insight. And since I'm the boots on the ground as the sideline reporter, that's sort of where my attention is. So there's not an exact formula, but it's a lot of observing and asking anything you can at the last minute. And then game kicks off and you're doing live TV from there.
Just the flow of chaos.
Exactly. That's a good way to put it. Yeah.
Speaking of chaos, right there.
Cheers to that.
Whatever do you mean?
That was like a Saturday. That was like a Saturday night after the game for me.
Yeah.
Like we're out and I'm like, oh, where's Steven? Oh, where you go? What's he doing? What are we doing? Where was he at?
Well, I told y'all before we came on, and I promised that I would bring this up during the show. One of my first real assignments was covering pro day that Steven was at. And I remember we were standing on the field and we were waiting for him to come out. And we were making jokes among the media, how many beers do you think he had before he came out here? You think he's going to come out ready to party? What is this going to look like? You were a legend, even among the local media.
Jeez. Yeah. Yeah. That was interesting. And I will say this much. I was pleasantly surprised that Coach Spurrier invited me back for pro day over there. I was not expecting that. The way everything would ended, but yeah, that was pretty cool. He invited me, and I had a freaking blast seeing all those guys. And
would you keep it at 2 beers before, or what'd you do?
No, man, I actually didn't drink for that entire process. The guy was more the work. Yeah, it was terrible. And it turned out to be pointless.
Were you in Columbia, or did you go back to Florida during that time?
No. As soon as I got booted from the team, I hauled ass back to Tampa.
Yeah. I mean, why not?
In a hurry,
right?
Speaking of kind of a day in the life of you on a Saturday, what exactly would you say? There's a lot of parts to your job, and I'm sure you've had several different roles. But what is your all-around favorite that you do on a weekly basis?
So my real, but what's going to sound like the political answer is being able to do sidelines and studio really helped me do the other better. So when I'm in studio Monday through Thursday, having been on the sidelines and having conversations with coaches and seeing it up close and personal, you guys know this. I mean, when we're in our Friday meetings before a game, you're working with these coaches and working with these players, and not everything they're telling you is going to make it on the broadcast. Some of it's off the record, some of it's context so that you don't get on TV sounding like an idiot or questioning something for a reason that, okay, this is why we're doing this and this is why we're operating this way. So being able to be at these schools on Saturday really helps me then as a studio host. So I love doing both of those things. But if I had to just pick one thing to do for the rest of my life, it would be studio hosting on site. There is nothing better than being behind a desk at a basketball tournament or the baseball tournament or out at the College World Series in a live sports environment. I haven't yet gotten to do it on the football side. That is a dream of mine, to be able to host a studio show on site, the way that obviously like College Game Day does it with the screaming crowd in the background. But when we're out in Hoover, Alabama at the SEC baseball tournament, and fans are there and they've been tailgating, they're drinking, and we've got the players and coaches coming up on the desk as soon as they win a big game. That to me is the most fun television to be able to do, especially because a lot of times the plan that you come in with gets thrown out the window because content is pointing you in a different direction or an interview's going somewhere else. And then that's kind of on me as the host to be the captain of the ship and decide where we're going next. So not only is it fun for my TV nerd brain to be able to kind of produce on the fly, the energy, especially in the SEC, is unmatched when you get to be out there in the thick of it.
Let me ask you this. How much of that have you seen in the transformation of like social media and everything? And like everybody has a script, but now it's like content is everything.
Yeah.
You got people that are clipping certain things. What's the difference of that you've seen over the last few years?
I think, there's a ton of obviously negatives for social media, but for me, one of the positives is I feel really connected to a lot of the fan bases. So when I am on the desk and I'm interviewing somebody, like this is an example of that. I was interviewing Joey Aguilar earlier this week on our studio show. And of course, we're talking football, but at the end of the interview, having seen all these tweets and posts from Tennessee fans over the last couple of weeks, I asked him, what has it been like watching Tennessee fans fall in love with your mom? Because they're obsessed with your mom. They're walking up to her in the stands, they're taking pictures. And because of the algorithms, I see those on my feed. So in a way, it makes me feel like, okay, this is what Tennessee fans are talking about today. Obviously, I'm very dialed in with South Carolina fans and everybody I follow there. So if I'm not in Columbia, I still kind of know what like the inside jokes of the fan bases are and what they're talking about this week. And that was something at Media Days when I talked to Lenora Sellers. I was like, all right, you got La Heisman, La Goggles, La Championship, like the jokes that the fans are writing. So for me, that's how I would say it's changed. What I do the most is just feeling more tapped into what fans care about and trying to tailor my interviews, if I can, to asking about things that fans really do care about.
Give a shit about,
Yeah, it is crazy. I mean, social media has given everybody constant access at all times, which is good and bad. God bless Steven. I'm so glad it wasn't a thing.
I think about it all the time, man. I would have lasted near as long as I did.
It's crazy to me. I mean, the things that people say to me are vile, and I'm not losing people money when they lose a football game or whatever. The things that they say to 19-year-old student athletes are insane. And like, I'll even say this too. Like, everybody was up in arms about the video of Diego Pavia walking off the field in Tuscaloosa and the fan jawing at him, and they're going back and forth. And people are saying, well, he's not a kid. He's 24 years old and he's paid to do this. So that fan should be able to talk trash. I sit here and I go, like, why are we using sports as an excuse to be nasty to other human beings? Why would you talk to anybody that way? And I know that, like, someone would say, holy crap, well, don't get on Twitter then if that's not the thing. Like, obviously, I know that's not the case. And that's not how people operate, but that's how I feel. Like, how would you say that to somebody?
Still a human being, right? I mean, they're competing their butt off, doing everything they can to try to win a ball game for their team. 100%. I mean, I had playing football, you have just hopefully you have more good plays than bad plays, but that's not always the case.
Right.
And the bad plays were always the ones that are remembered, even like internally yourself, that like definitely by the fans.
Well, and that's the thing. It's like, I'm 32 years old and sometimes I gotta, all right, let me delete the Twitter app for a few days because this is actually getting to me and it's really bothering me. I would not have been able to handle it when I was in college. If 20-year-old me had been receiving the things that 32-year-old me, I would not have made it. I really wouldn't have. So
I'll say this much. I'm a different duck, I guess. I love art. I love it. It actually like puts a smile on my face. It's like, but who the f are you? Like, why are you attacking me? I don't know who the hell you are. Go back in your basement. You go do your thing and leave me the alone.
Yeah. I try to tell myself that, but every now and again they get me and I'm like,
Tailgate Talks is powered by Lanier and Burroughs, South Carolina's premier accident attorneys. If you've been in a truck wreck, car crash, slip and fall, or suffered injury on the job, these guys have the experience to fight for the compensation you deserve. Founding partner Louis Lanier has been battling for South Carolina since 1974, and Shane Burroughs brings over 15 years of top-rated trial experience. Best part? They're Gamecocks, and they offer a free initial consultation and will come to you. Give them a call at 803-268-9800 or visit landblawfirm.com. Lanier and Burroughs, fierce advocates, local roots, proven results.
Home Team Barbecue is fired up to take care of your tailgate and watch party needs this season. Home Team is known for its smoked meats, creative daily specials, and twists on Southern Classic. Smoked wings, ribs, pulled pork sliders, barbecue nachos, or classic sides like mac and cheese and collard greens are the perfect feast to fuel your game day. Round up your friends and give Home Team Catering a shout at catering@hometeambarbecue.com or head to 5 Points for a frozen game changer cocktail and barbecue snacks to celebrate the next Gamecocks big win. Visit hometeambarbecue.com to check out the menu.
Tailgate Talks is brought to you by JCQ Farms, a proud South Carolina family farm rooted in tradition and built on quality. Whether it's their premium beef, farm fresh produce, or their signature smoked meats, JCQ Farms brings the taste of the South straight to your table. Perfect for your next tailgate, backyard barbecue, or family dinner. Remember, always support your American farms because they are drying out each day. Support local, eat better, and stock up for the season. JCQ Farms, where quality meets Carolina pride.
Gamecock Nation, it's time to elevate your outdoor space. Palm Casual Outdoor Furniture, Gamecock owned and operated, has you covered with locations all across South Carolina. Whether you're poolside, tailgating, or watching the Gamecocks dominate in your backyard, Palm Casual has the perfect setup for you. Visit them online at palmcasual.com and gear up for a fall filled with Gamecock victories. Cheers to a winning season from the DeMarco back porch, proudly furnished by Palm Casual.
oh, that one actually hurt.
What has been, I mean, having done it for so long now, what's the moment where you were like, oh shoot, I really screwed up. Like, I wish I could go back and fix that.
Ooh, that's a really good question. I know there's a lot of those moments over the years. Trying to think of a major one where like I sat on it for a while. You know what? There was one when I was in local TV. So when I was in Jacksonville, we obviously cover a lot of high school football in local TV. And this was on the heels of the Jags being the first team in London that week to take a knee during the national anthem. And so obviously being in Jacksonville and covering the Jags, it was a national story, but it was a huge story for us as well. It's the hometown team. And it kind of shifted into, all right, well, with our high school sports coverage coming up over the next week, how are teams going to handle that? How are coaches going to handle it? How are they going to address it? So we had coaches reaching out to us from all over the place who said, we are going to plan something. We're not going to plan something. This is how we're going to handle it. And everyone was very proactive about it. I ended up heading out to a game and I was doing live shots before the game started. And I was on the air when the national anthem was about to start playing. And the ethics rule of being on TV during the national anthem is you don't talk over it. So if you don't time it, typically you time it, especially in a pregame show, so that you're in commercial break so that the anthem can roll and you're not standing there kind of awkwardly unless you have planned to air the national anthem. So the anthem's about to play. I'm live on TV and I'm telling them that the anthem's about to play. And that's what the story was, right? I wasn't necessarily talking football. It was how are teams around the high school area, the Jacksonville area at the high school level handling this. And the team in the school that I was at, as they were telling everybody that they were about to play the anthem, walked to the locker room and they didn't stand out there for the national anthem. And so I said that on TV. Now, I don't even remember what my exact words were, but I do think I alluded to the fact that, hey, you've seen these protests happening across the country, across the NFL. You can see these guys behind me. They're heading into the locker room during the national anthem. And that was kind of like a journalism 101 moment for me, where when the superintendent of the school district came and found me at halftime, angry as hell, saying that that's not what was happening. They do that every game, and it was not because they were doing anything related to the anthem. I felt horrible. Yeah. I mean, I felt horrible. They were extremely upset with me. At the end of the day, I look back and I go, okay, both things can be true. Yep. I screwed up, but also, like, how did y'all not see like what was going on at the time? Right? Like, and we were on TV and you're watching them walk into the locker room behind me. Like, this is actively happening. I'm not just telling you and hey, take my word for it. So that was one that sat with me for a while. That was tough. I wish I had asked somebody beforehand, what is your plan? But we were so wrapped up in all these schools, and I'm a 2-person department for all these schools in Jacksonville. So at the end of the day, that was my screw up for assuming that that's what happened.
And you learned a ton through the process.
Yeah.
That's what it's all about.
Exactly. And, I'm sure hurt a lot of people and a lot of people's feelings in doing that. But that is something that I always have in the back of my mind. You don't assume anything, even if it seems like the most obvious thing in the world that's happening in front of you. Just ask. Always make sure you ask before you tell somebody on any level of television. So that's definitely a screw up that I wish I had back.
But I mean, it's kind of like, to your point, like a 32-year-old you versus a 20-year-old you. I mean, people are going to complain and be offended by everything anyways. Right? Like
that part is definitely hard. And that's where I really have learned to separate, like, okay, did I screw up? Or is this somebody who just disagrees with me and is having a bad day?
He's just pissed off. Yeah.
Yeah. And I like to think that now, like, my screw ups, I still screw up, right? But I like to think they're not as serious as like something like that. I'm going to get a stat wrong. I'm going to get, they're the number 1 total offense. No, they were the number 2 total offense. There's things that I'm going to get wrong. And that's when I just remind myself, like, I'm a human being.
You're a human, yeah.
I'm allowed to make mistakes as long as I'm not hurting somebody or somebody's reputation, which I try very, very hard to do the complete opposite for everybody that I cover. I always know my heart and my preparation's in the right place, and giving yourself grace is not easy, but it is important. Just
100%. It's a good point.
After a big Saturday, like, how do you... There's not much time to get away from it to reset, but how do you stay grounded and level-headed throughout all this?
Yeah, it's, focusing on the things I like to do outside of the job are important. Fitness is really big to me. I love to decorate my house and paint walls in my house. So anything that kind of takes my mind off of it. This week is going to be interesting. I won't have much time to decompress after my game this week. I'm actually getting on a flight from Oxford to Boston to call my first ever NBA game this Sunday. So
let's go.
I'm excited, but I'm very nervous because I'm going to go from college football at noon on Saturday to the NBA Sunday night. I have no idea how I'm going to decompress after that. But I'm pumped. I think it's just kind of going day by day, trying
Tequila House.
Yeah, exactly. Which the hotel bar will be seeing me on Saturday night. That's for sure. The red wine. But honestly, I love the quote that, like, how lucky am I to be overwhelmed by the things that I prayed for? And
absolutely.
Truly, that grounds me. Like, there was a time I would have killed.
Was that Antilla the Hun that said that?
It might have been. We should ask Steve.
Hey, Coach.
Call him up real quick. Hey, Coach, you been reading any Attila the Hun lately? I swear he said he had an Attila book or something in his office, and that's where he got the quote from.
I would not be surprised one bit if that was true.
I'm telling y'all, find that press conference, and you'll see me like holding the mic, like.
When's your off day? Like, when do you get to just completely chill?
During football season, there honestly really is not one. So if I wasn't running to an NBA game, my Sunday typically looks like coming home. And then since I'm on the sidelines of an SEC game, but I'm in studio again the following week, and I do radio during the week as well, I got to watch back all the other games.
Yep.
So
Okay.
I try to pay attention as much as I can to what's going on Saturday. And while I'm flying back, watch some of the late games. But there's usually 3-4 games that are going while I'm on the air that if I'm going to then get in studio and talk about them on Monday, Tuesday, I got to go back and watch that game in its entirety too. So Sunday is me sitting on the couch with a remote, hitting fast forward to hope that there's about 10 seconds between when they snap the ball and I can watch the game back a lot faster. Monday afternoons sort of are like I can take a walk with the dog and chill out a little bit, but there's always something to do when you have this job. There's always more prep to do, more reading. So, I have a hard time taking time away.
Do you have the capacity to are you an NFL fan, an MLB fan? Are you able to dive into those and be full fandom and watch, or is it just too much on the side and too much brain movement going on?
Yeah, not really, honestly. And my favorite sports are college sports, which helps. I've always been a college football, college basketball, college baseball fan over anything else. I'll watch the playoffs. I'll watch by the time we're getting to the Stanley Cup finals. My husband's a big hockey fan, so we watch hockey.
Lightning or Hope, right?
Yes, he's a huge Lightning fan.
Okay.
That was one of our first dates, actually, and that was our first fight. The Columbus Blue Jays came in. It was that season that the Lightning had won a NHL record amount of games during the regular season. And
first round.
It was the Blue Jackets who came in the first round, and Tampa Bay was up 3-0. And then they ended up losing the game 5-3. He lived near South Howard, which Steven, you get this. He's so mad we're leaving the arena, and he's like, let's just walk back. And I'm like, I don't know how far it is. I'm not from the area. He's just so mad. And I'm like, well, should we call an Uber? He's like, no, we're just going to walk back. It was a 2.5-mile walk that we did in silence because he was so angry. We got back to the house, and I said, look, I love you. Love that, the passion. I get it. I'm a sports gal. We're not doing that ever again. You're never making me walk home from Amalie Arena ever again. So we look back on that laughing now. That was the worst game he's ever been to, and it was my first ever Lightning game.
Yeah, that could be a treacherous walk if you go the wrong streets.
Yeah, I since learned that in the months after. I was like, I can't believe you made me walk all the way this way. Crazy.
Kind of realized that we were walking really fast for some weird reason.
Really fast and really quiet, and I'm going, all right, how far are we? We're not far. We're almost there. It's another 1.5 miles.
Yeah, you gotta hustle up on that journey.
Well, keeping up with the Gamecocks now, how obviously you're a huge Shane Beamer fan, huge Gamecock fan, but how do you juggling covering all sports and then kind of a hyper focus on the Gamecocks? How do you balance that?
Yeah, I mean, it's fun, right? Being able to hyper focus on the SEC and knowing that that's right where we're at, obviously lets me really pay attention. When I was in Jacksonville, we focused on Florida, Georgia, Jacksonville sports. And I kind of lost touch with South Carolina in the way that I had been a fan previously, just because you're working 17-hour days and there's not a lot of time to focus on other things. So now being able to kind of use being a fan as an excuse for doing my job is pretty nice sometimes. I get grief occasionally from Gamecock fans when I am on the sidelines for a South Carolina game and talking positively about the opponent, even though that is my job to cover both teams equally. The toughest was a few years ago. I had the Clemson South Carolina game. It was in Columbia, and it was the 30-3 year. Yeah. And Dabo knows that I'm a Gamecock alum. So in the post-game interview, I can't confirm or I don't know if he's doing this on purpose. I feel like he's throwing me a little extra smile in the post-game interview, when they just beat us. Gamecock fans hate it. They were like, why are you smiling at Dabo in the post-game interview? And I'm like, what am I going to do? Glare at him?
Just flick them off.
I did go to a great journalism school that taught me how to be impartial at the end of the day. But no, it's fun to be able to be a fan. And I have threatened my bosses when we go to a national championship, playoff game, whatever, you better be sending me.
Yep.
I better be hosting the coverage. I better be doing something, or I'm going to be taking time off and going myself to the band. And I'll be insufferable on TV whenever that happens, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, they'd be nuts not to do that for you. Jeez.
Yeah.
I mean, hopefully that actually happens. So
It's going to happen. Our next 5 are tough.
I think we're trending in the next couple of years. Like, if we keep stacking recruiting classes and doing everything we're supposed to do, like I see it. I mean, he's built a culture with guys that want to play at the University of South Carolina.
Yeah.
And this place means something to them. It's not necessarily a transactional place anymore. It's a transformational place. So I see it. I'm in full faith with you, Alyssa.
Yeah, and I think in this world of college football where you can have microwave success, like you can pull a team out of the portal and go win, we've seen that happen. Culture's going to end up being more important than anything in a couple of years. I really think, especially with these storied programs and the traditions of a conference like the SEC, having a backbone and a strong one at that, like the one that Shane Beamer has built, is going to end up paying dividends in the long run.
Yeah. If you could call one South Carolina game in the past, what would it be?
Probably that 2012 Georgia game, if we're being honest. Yeah. I mean, that was just such a good game. Like the A. Sanders punt return to the house. Like, I can say this because he's my friend now, but the sacks on Aaron Murray. Like, I don't know that I have heard Williams-Brice louder than that. I don't know if even this.
A lot of people say that.
Yep.
Now, I was there last year for the Texas A&M game. That was awesome.
That was
obviously. They stormed the field that night, and being down there for that, I had never been a part of any of that in college either. So that was probably a close second, because that was a pretty badass game too.
Yeah. Well, we want to be respectful of your time. I know you have coaches' minis coming here. We're going to do a quick rapid fire segment here.
Okay.
So get ready. Buckle up.
All right. I'm ready.
All right. Who's your favorite Gamecock of all time?
Connor Shaw. Sorry, Stephen.
God damn. All right. I'll see you guys later.
Sorry.
Dream interview guest, dead or alive?
Oh, dream interview guest, dead or alive. Oh my gosh. There's so many options floating. Walter Payton.
Well, sweetness. I love it.
Yeah.
Wow.
All right. What's your go-to game day snack?
Uncrustables.
Oh, they're so good. Strawberry or jelly?
Either one, but the grapes better, I think.
All right. You're 2 for 3 on answers so far.
I'm a classic gal.
Most embarrassing on-air moment that you're willing to admit?
I was really hungover after going out in Baton Rouge the night before, calling an LSU game, and I did an interview on the sidelines that next night with Shaq, and I asked him if he had a DJ name.
That's awesome.
Did he?
Well,
Does he?
Apparently, okay, this actually makes me feel a lot better. Everyone knew that his DJ name is DJ Diesel, and he had a huge chain on that said Diesel. And I'm standing there asking him, so do you have like a DJ name, or is cracking up? And
the chain's right here.
Yeah, I could barely see it. I had literally gone to a bar the night before where he performed as the DJ. All the LSU fans were like, are you an idiot? Like, don't you know what his DJ name? Even my producer was like, what are you doing? Like, oh my God. So Jack looked at me and he goes, Diesel? Like, I was an absolute idiot. So
that's great.
That is hilarious.
Well, that's all we got for you. And again, thanks so much for taking the time to jump on with us. When that Gamecock Nation is going to be super excited to hear from you. And we know everything that you're about. You're doing a fantastic job. You represent the university with class in many, many ways. And we're just very thankful for you. So thank you so much, Alyssa.
That means a lot to me. And thank you guys so much for having me.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely.